Welcome back to DA Griffin Hobby. My name's Dave. It's the end of another year, and that means it's time to look back. As December comes to a close, it will wrap up my second year doing this channel. And although I've been in the hobby most of my life, it's really the last couple years that I've really been focused on it instead of spreading my attention to multiple hobbies. I think I've accomplished an awful lot. Would I like my layout to be closer to quote unquote done? Sure, but I'm enjoying it as it is. This past year, I've been to a lot of train shows, been to a couple of holiday displays, visited a few train stores, hung out with a whole bunch of great people, made some new friends, ran a bunch of trains, possibly purchased one or two items, maybe more. I was trying to look back to see if I regretted anything from this year as far as the hobby is concerned, and I really don't. I mean, other than being sidelined by COVID way longer than I would have liked, I was going to make, or I was planning to make, a lot more progress in this room this summer. Insulation, for one, would have been nice because right now it's about 40 degrees in here and I've got my little heater going. It's not making much of a dent. Maybe next summer I will work on the insulation. I have been trying to plug up some little holes here and there and cut down on drafts. It's only going to help so much until I throw some insulation in the ceiling above me. I may not have made as much progress as I hoped, but I've made progress and I've had a good time and I've got some really cool trains and I've had a great time this year. One part of the hobby that's always a lot of fun is buying new trains. And I've done a little bit of that this year. The progress that I didn't make on the layout kind of was taken up by laying on the couch and shopping on eBay. So I'm looking at my history from the last year and I started out pretty good. I had a goal for the year to find a good 226E. It does not have the proper tender, but I'm not that concerned about that. If at some point I find one for a good price with the proper tender, that'll be great. You know, even if I have to swap a bunch of parts back and forth to make a good model, I'll do that. But I started out right away in January buying the 226E. I don't regret this next purchase because it is something I'm very happy to have and it's hard to find. I just spent a lot more per car than usually I would. The add-on set of 3 passenger cars for my K-Line Greenport Scoot set. I had originally purchased the set, came with the engine, the dummy, the Amagansett car, and 2 cars with a blue stripe, I believe. Shortly after, I did find the Montauk car and added that. And the only thing else that they had made that I didn't have was this add-on pack. And I found that right at the end of January. It was worth it because it really is not easy to find these cars and they are in very nice condition. Started out February with a bang. I picked up the baggage car for the Southern Crescent Limited for $10. Oh, and another one. I picked up another coach also for 10 bucks. Also in February, I picked up the Chesapeake and Ohio Hudson. And that was like 80 bucks, and it turned out to be a really good engine. It's understated, it's pretty much just black, but it's got a silver boiler front. Understated, but a fantastic puller, and it really turned out to be a great engine. After that, I was just looking for some box cars, some cheap cars to build up the roster, and I found 6 K-Line cars, and ended up getting those for about 30 bucks for 6 cars, so that was pretty fantastic. I picked up a K-Line GG1. Also in March, I picked up the Blue Comet. That didn't come with boxes, but it's in fantastic condition. It runs well. I don't think there's really any blemishes on it, and that was just over 200 bucks. So a fantastic deal, especially considering these days you see those sell for, well, at least on eBay, you know, 500-600 bucks. And out of the 3 sets that I have, the Blue Comet, the Crescent Limited, and the Chicago and Alton, the Blue Comet was the most expensive one for me. Then in April, I picked up a set of Williams New York Central passenger cars. After that, I picked up a pretty grungy set of the Chicago and Alton cars. and I had to take those all apart, pull the wiring out of it, take the trucks all apart and soak them, because they were all rusted and corroded. I still haven't put those all back together, but it's something I'm gonna get to soon. In May, I picked up what has turned out to be one of my favorite MPC era steamers, at least as far as the Hudsons are concerned, and that's the Joshua Lionel Cohen engine. I just really like the paint scheme on that, the brown and the black and the gold. It's just, at first I didn't like the gold, but it's really, really grown on me. And then I also picked up the TCA Hudson, which also has turned into one of the ones I really like running. Ooh, this is one of my favorite purchases for the year. The MPC Era 040 number 8506. Purchased that for $21. An amazing deal, because that engine will pull wonderfully. It's die cast, it's heavy. The tender's a little plasticky and cheap, but compared to the pre-war 1662 or the post-war 1615, 1656, it's just as good as those as far as I'm concerned. And obviously at a major fraction of the cost. I got some cheap tunnel portals to help me designing the layout. I picked up a 1664 pretty cheap, which I forget about. I don't even know where it is. I got to get that out and play with that, see if it's working. I remember using it, and then I think it's it's over there on my project table, and I'm not sure why, because I think it worked. We'll have to revisit that. Maybe in January, we'll take a look at the project table and see what's gonna happen there. Then I got to July, and at this point, I had been pretty much on the couch 2.5 months, May, June, and half of July. That's when I purchased the better quality Chicago and Alton, which was a good deal, 160 bucks. So that was awesome. But it also made me stop and look back at all this stuff I had purchased already, and I said, whoa, I need to stop. I was just sitting there and shopping, and that gets dangerous. So the only thing I bought since then, at least on eBay, because train shows are another deal, was just recently. And that's this packet of parts to redo one of my ZW Transformers. I don't need all the parts, but I wanted to start with that repair from just a kit that was available. I wanted to be able to say to somebody, go here, pick this up, and follow this video, and that's how you fix it. So it doesn't have everything I want, but it's got most of it. So that will be a fun video. If I can get my hands to be still and steady enough and my brain to focus enough, I'll hopefully get that out pretty early in 2023. That actually wraps up the eBay shopping for the year, and that's a good thing. I am looking forward to starting over in January and seeing what I can find. There's really nothing there that I regret. Everything has turned out really well, except for, I think it was the TCA Hudson that wobbled excessively because the engine just must have been run non-stop because the brushes were almost gone. There was so much wear in the axle bushings that the axles just wobble back and forth. I mean, it still runs good, but it wobbles pretty significantly. At some point, I might pull those wheels and replace the axles and the bushings, which is not a repair I've done because I don't have wheel pullers or a press to put them back together. I've said that I have met some really fantastic people in this hobby, and I'm not lying. I've met some other YouTubers and we've become good friends. I've met plenty of people that watch the channel, out at train shows, and a couple of people have been very generous and given me a couple of items here and there, a car. One of my buddies found me the red tender for my Marks train. Another guy recently gave me a couple of 027 cars and the diner car to go with the TCA Hudson. I mean, there's just a lot of really generous and nice people out there. But the one thing that really blew me away was the gentleman who gifted me the Frisco Mikado and the Reading T1. I mean, I still don't really believe that happened and that I have those engines and that somebody gave them to me in appreciation for what I'm doing. And that's just, I don't know. Like I said, I really still don't believe it. I just enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm thrilled that people find value in it. Thank you to all of you, not just the people that, have been generous enough to give me something, but to everybody who spends time watching the videos and interacting, commenting, starting discussions, gone over to Facebook and joined the group, stopped me at train shows. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a great community, and I appreciate all you guys. It's up to 42 degrees, but I feel colder. So maybe I didn't get all the work done on the layout that I wanted, but I have made progress. I made some good decisions. I made some, I finalized some choices. And I think that once I can get back in here and put some solid time into working on the layout, I'll get this upper loop nailed down and working, and then I can really split my attention between going further up with the scenery and actually working on the scenery on the lower portion of the layout. I mean, I'm pretty psyched that a lot of it is now brown instead of pink. Yes, there's still some pink in there. But some bushes and trees and grass and all that sort of stuff would be fantastic. I'd love to get some buildings and roads and stuff like that worked in. So I have a lot to do, but that's good because I enjoy doing it. So over the next year, I think my goal would be early on to finalize that upper loop, add some detailing to the lower portion, and then figure out where I'm going from there. I still want to make some big mountains and possibly another track or two. It's going to depend on what actually ends up working. It's entirely possible this layout ends up staying just 3 loops if I can't get a 4th higher loop to work to my satisfaction, and that's okay. I've thought of putting less detailed tracks under the layout to just give me the ability to run more trains, whether it would be O gauge or standard O, S, HO, N. I don't know. I've got something of all of it, and I'd like to run all of it. So I don't know. The possibilities are endless. Regardless of whatever it is I just said, there's going to be progress in the layout, and I'm just excited to see where it goes. One of the things that's been a problem is storage. Eddie over at The Creative Mind pointed out one day a really cheap shoe rack, and he had sent it to me, and it was, I think I picked up one for $17, and I tried it out, and it's not the best. It's not that strong. The shelves are of fabric, so it's not the sturdiest, but it worked well enough. It's perfect for holding the 027 sized post-war boxcars. They fit perfectly, and they're not going to roll off because the shelf's fabric and it sags. It's almost perfect for the 6464s. You just kind of straddle the front truck over the edge of the shelf, and it kind of keeps it from rolling. $17. I bought 2 different shelves, and they're holding stuff, but this is a temporary solution. So the other day, while I was trying to minimize some of the drafts in here, I decided to make some changes. It's a bit of a mess at the moment, but that's because I'm cleaning. It's amazing how things get dirtier when you try to clean. But this wall over here, the door with the shirt on it, I'm actually going to remove that door, place the paneling, make it a solid wall, and that's going to enable me to run shelves across the entire width of that wall. Using a 1x5, the door to the other room, the big door, will still open. That gives me a good amount of storage, so I'm excited to work on that. I started to, but realized I only had a couple of pieces of wood, and it really wouldn't make sense to start on. So that wall, not only is it going to get painted, but it's going to have shelves on it. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Now, if you look behind me over my head there, you'll see some 2x4s stuck to the wall. Those are remnants of a very large 2x4 built shelf that was there before I started working on this layout. Here, I might take those off because that's the back wall. And then with these, I could use those to support a set of shelves. So that might happen. It might depend how much wood I have left over when I do the shelves on the other wall. So for the new year, layout progress, storage, installation, train shows, obviously. At this point, I don't really have any pieces I'm set on looking for. I mean, I'm always on the lookout for cars for 10 to 15 bucks, so who knows what I'll find. I really want to be able to clean up the room, paint the walls, finish the little things that haven't been done, and just make the area nicer and continue to make videos. I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a lot of projects. I have a whole table of projects that need to be worked on. Some are nicer than others. Some need more work. Some, I don't know. I mean, I have a huge box filled with tenders and they all need help. And some of the whistles are shot. There are a bunch of soundboards from the Sound of Steam tenders that either don't work or weren't working at the time. So I have projects, plenty of projects. It's gonna be a good year. What are your goals for this upcoming year? As far as, are you working on a layout? Are you building your collection? Are you planning a layout? Do you work on a layout with a club? Let me know what's going on with you. I'd be interested to know. I myself have been toying with the idea of joining one of the local clubs. I just don't know how I'd have time for it. Between, work, kids, the house, doing 2 videos a week for this, I really don't know how I'd have time for it, but I think it would be a great idea. So that's how the layout stands at the moment. Like I said, I've made progress, but not as much as I had hoped for. But that's okay, it's not a race. I'm just happy I've been able to work on it at all. It's been a great year, despite the setbacks. But let's be honest, there are always setbacks. I'm still having a fantastic time with my layout, my collection, getting to the shows, making these videos, interacting with you guys. I love all of it, and I'm so thrilled I've been so focused on this one hobby. It's been so much fun and so rewarding. So let's look forward to another fantastic year. As always, if you have any recommendations for things you'd like me to focus more on, let me know. I feel like I've gotten away from repair videos. Part of that is due to the long haul COVID, where I just don't have the physical ability to do the work as much as I did. My focus is suffering and my hands are just clumsier than ever. But hopefully, as we get into the new year, I'll start feeling a little better. And I've got lots of things to work on. So one of the things I'm considering is just going through my collection and doing a video on each and every engine and how to take that engine apart, clean it, and put it back together. Like I said, I have plenty of ideas, but if there's something you'd like to see, let me know. I know a while back I had done a video and asked for any recommendations, and honestly, I feel like with everything else, that video got kind of lost. And I really need to go back and look at all your suggestions, because I know there were some good ones. I've said before that I really do try to answer and respond to every single comment. I know I've fallen behind on that, but I haven't given up. I really want to get back there and read all the comments, respond to all the comments. So please keep leaving them. It's great interacting with all of you. I want to thank all of you for your continued support and interest in what I'm doing. And it's been a great year. It's been a great 2 years. And I'm looking forward to another great year. So thank you very much all for watching, interacting, commenting, saying hi when you see me out at the train shows. It's awesome. Let's have a safe New Year's and a fantastic New Year. Happy New Year, everybody.